Hello, this video is going to show you how to import images into Lightroom. I'm going to show you two ways to do this. One will be to import from your camera's card onto a hard drive that you like. And the second way will be to take your images that are already on your computer and then bring them into Lightroom. Now I just want to be clear, when I say bring them into Lightroom, I'm not actually moving the images into Lightroom. Instead, what I'm doing is I'm using Lightroom to move the images to where they need to be, or just address them where they're at. When you move images around with Lightroom, what Lightroom does is it creates an address to each and every image. And so that way Lightroom knows where to look for the image. You want to make sure you're careful that if you move your images after they're in the catalog in Lightroom, that you let Lightroom know where you moved those images to, or just use Lightroom to move those images. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, so let's back up a little bit here. I'm going to show you the first way, which is importing images through Lightroom from my camera's card onto a hard drive. In order to do this, I do need to be in the library module, and I click on the import button in the lower left hand corner. As we can see here in the upper left hand corner, Lightroom gives us directions to go from the left to the middle to the right based on these arrows. So let's start there. If I click on this selection, you can see I can choose my card that is from my camera, or I can go to the desktop or other sources, which I will go to in my next time around of showing you how to import. But right now, let's just make sure I'm on my camera card. Now, when I'm in my camera card, I go into the next section and I have a choice of copying them as a DNG, which is Adobe's digital negative. That means it will take whatever format my camera shot in, whether it's RAW or JPEG mode, and it will convert it into Adobe's RAW mode, which is a digital negative. I can also copy the images over, and you can see here that it says copy photos to a new location and add to catalog. What that means is that it will copy, again, the images from my camera's card onto the hard drive that I select, but it will keep the original format that I shot them in. If I try and click on move or add, those options are not available to me. Now I need to choose where I want the images to go to. So I'm going to click on the upper right hand gray boxed area, and I'm going to choose. I can put them on my desktop or my pictures, or in this particular case, I'm going to go to another destination, which is an external hard drive that I have. In the new Finder window that opens up, I can see that I have my Rambling Main attached to my computer, and I'm going to select it. Once I'm there, I'm going to go ahead and go into there, and I'm going to put the images into my image vault. I'm going to say choose, and now I have my location selected. I want to go ahead and I want to come down here and take a look at my options. I do have an option for file handling, and in this particular case, I want my previews to be a standard preview. I would like it to build smart previews, and I don't want it to import suspected duplicates. And then if I want to make a second copy and send it to someplace, I can, but I'm not going to do that at this time. And if I wanted to create a collection, I could do that here now. We'll go more into collections later. Okay, now let's take a look at file renaming. If we go into file renaming, we have the option of actually renaming each individual photograph or image as it's being cataloged by Lightroom. All you have to do is click on this box and then choose if you want the file name. You can see right here, that's what the file name is. And instead, I want to do a custom name. And in this particular custom name, I want to call it the Sea Ranch, and you'll see how it shows up down here. Excellent, that was easy. Now we're going to see if we want to apply anything during import. There is the option to develop settings. Honestly, I never use this. You're welcome to use it, but if I'm going to do development, I'm going to use that in the development stage. Okay, but I do want to apply some metadata. And the first thing I want to do is I want to apply a copyright. As I have not registered these images with the Copyright Office yet, they won't have a copyright date to them. I am going to add keywords to them though, and we can see here that I've already been to the Sea Ranch, and so I have this in my catalog. So I have the Sea Ranch and I have California. These are separated by a comma and a space. And that gets them so that later when I want to take a look for these images, if I've been to the Sea Ranch for many years, and if I want to see all of my Sea Ranch images, all I have to do is type in the keywords the Sea Ranch, and all of the images of the Sea Ranch for every year I went there will show up. And so that makes it very convenient. If you're not keywording your images now, start. Okay. Now we already chose our destination, and we can see here that if I go into the image vault here, and that's where my images are going to go into. The other thing I want to point out in this folder is that I have the ability to create subfolders inside the image vault. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to name this folder, and I went to the Sea Ranch in 2015. And I've entered this in incorrectly to show you that if you should do this, you will get an error message that says the subfolder name contained illegal characters that have been replaced. I can say OK, and we can see that it put hyphens in between every word. The Lightroom software does not allow for spaces, so make sure you plan accordingly. Okay, the last thing I want to point out is this area right here. And that is because I have 718 images, and trust me, not all of them are good. So what I like to do is I like to uncheck all photos, and then I like to take a look at the images in a bigger image. I'm going to right arrow, and as I find ones that I like, I will go ahead and click on Import Image. And then I'll just go through the images. And if I go to an area like, oh, you know what, I want to really take a look at this one, and then I can go ahead and I can include import. By the way, if I want to zoom into the image, I can zoom into the image to see how sharp it is. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and include just a couple of these images on my import, and I'm going to say import. We can see here in the upper left that Lightroom is importing the images, and it looks like it's doing a great job. As it imports the images, it starts to build the images down here in the film strip view. Once it builds the images up in the film strip view, then I can start working on them. So I've got a couple that I can work on, but right now I promised I would show you another way to import images, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's just go ahead and clean up my stage a little bit here. There we go. The reason I'm going to show you the second way of importing images is because we have practice files that were given you during the class. And chances are you don't want to keep these practice files, and I get that, I understand. So let me show you an easy way to import those. And it'll look very similar to what you've seen before, but just a little bit different. Okay, so I've downloaded the images, I put them onto my desktop. So I'm going to come up here to the upper left-hand corner, I'm going to choose desktop, and then I'm going to go into week 1, and I can see that all 12 images are in there. Excellent. Now, I do see the option of copying them as a DNG, and that will change the TIFFs to a DNG. I don't want to do that. And I don't want to copy the images to a new location. I don't want to move them from my desktop to a different folder on either my hard drive or my external hard drive, because I don't really want to keep these images. I can move the images, which means instead of copying them, meaning that I would have a copy on the hard drive and a copy on the desktop, I'm going to actually delete them from the desktop and put them on the hard drive. That would be moving them. But instead, all I want to do is I want to add the photos to a catalog without moving them. That means the images stay on the desktop, but Lightroom knows where they're addressed to, and that's the desktop. Excellent. It creates a catalog. I can take a look at file handling just to make sure everything looks good in there. That looks beautiful. And apply during import. In this particular case, I don't want to add a copyright to my images. By the way, little extra bonus here. If you do want to start working with your copyright information, all you have to do is click on this, go to New. This window will show up, and then you just fill out as much as you want. You don't have to fill out everything. All right, back to where we are. I do want to import all the images, as I said before. If I ever want to just change the layout of these images based on the file name, media type, checked state, and capture time, I can definitely do that also. All right, now I've got all of those. I'm going to click on the import button. Like we saw before, they are importing in the upper left-hand corner, right there, and they are building the film strip below. Now that I have these images in the computer, or at least on the film strip, I can actually start working on them. I can take a look at each image by clicking through them. Now I would like you to just import your practice images and let me know if you have any problems. Thanks so much.